welcome. For those of you guys who don't know yet, this is Anything and Everything Coast to Coast. I'm Brett. This is AJ.
What's
For
up?
those of us, or those of you who do not know us, how long have we known each other? What, like 12 years now? Is it 12?
God, that's really sad if it's been 12 years.
I think it's 12. We went to college together, and now we
Yeah,
just live
as
on
well.
opposite ends of the coast and don't spend nearly enough time together. So,
Correct.
this is how we will torture everyone else in the world to see what's going on in our lives. Um, and most recently, we had the pleasure of doing a cross country, well, kind of cross country, halfway across the country, road trip from
Yes.
Colorado to California. AJ, any magical sights did you see on the way?
A lot of speed bumps on the road that you magically kept hitting.
Yes,
Um,
the bumps were there.
the bumps were there. No, so I mean, just to set the table for some viewers. Me and my wife, we flew into Denver to meet you and your fiance. Then we decided, for some strange reason, to road trip with you guys from Denver to our to your parents' house in LA because we were going to a wedding at the end of the week. Um, so 13 hours, right?
I wish it
17
was
hours,
13. It's 16.
something. Okay.
16-hour drive. It's a little bit
Yeah,
longer.
yeah. So we were lucky enough to stop a little bit right in Glenwood Springs. Um, didn't really see much of the town there just because it
Not
was pitch
really. We
black.
got there a little too late. I think we arrived at around
Yeah.
10:30ish, so it was more of a get in and go to bed. We had aspirations
Yes.
for the hot springs, but didn't quite make it there.
Yeah,
Um,
that mountain traffic is pretty terrible.
yeah, uh, it adds up quick. But in general, for those who haven't done the drive, once you get past Colorado, there is literally nothing until you get to Vegas. That is almost the next landmark, which is a good 8 to 10 hours away from Colorado. So
Yeah.
it's a fun adventure out west. My fiance liked to call most of Utah Tatooine, even though none of Star Wars was actually filmed there. She
Kind of
thought
looks like it though.
it does look like it, but she was so certain that some of it was filmed there. It was a little disappointing to be like, yeah, none of it was filmed there actually at all.
Do you remember where it was filmed?
It was like a desert out in Africa, and
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not just saying that, but that was actually where it was actually filmed. And yeah, couldn't
Nowhere
have
in the
been
U.S.
farther from where we were. But past that, we got to spend time at my parents' house, which is another side of life in terms of the high society living of LA. It's great place to relax. Not a great place for doing many other activities except the beach.
Mhm.
Um, but we did take a day and go to Disneyland, which is a big
Yes.
deal because AJ over here is more of a Disney World person.
Well, I've only ever experienced Disney World. Some would say the better park, um,
The knockoff.
or attraction. Disneyland is just it's just smaller. Everything is so tiny. Um, the
The
castle
way
is
that
just
I would compare the two theme parks is Disneyland is like the original animated Disney movies. They're classic, they're perfect, and then Disney World is like the live action remakes. You can tell that a whole lot more money has been spent on them, but is it actually better?
see. I would more equate it to like Disney World. I'll give you Disneyland being the original and like
Well, you don't have to
those
give it to
original
me. It is the
animated shows.
original,
Well,
so you
just
just
hear me out here.
okay.
And then Disney World is more of the new age animated shows or movies where they are million times better than the originals. The originals are classics, so they're good, but
Better in terms of production quality. Like we're
I
not
mean, I mean
drawing
the
on pieces of paper anymore, but
correct. The art is better. I mean, I feel like for the most part the stories are pretty much better. I mean, come on. Would you rather watch Snow White or would you rather watch like Big Hero 6?
okay, but
You'd rather
that's
watch
it.
Big Hero 6
Well, yes, but
or Moana. Like you'd rather watch Moana over Sleeping Beauty.
well, you're just picking the ones that I don't like purposely,
I
and
mean,
that's not a fair comparison.
Bambi, Bambi, or would you rather watch I don't know, like
Well, I prefer to watch one where a mom or dad doesn't die, so we can start with that.
okay,
Well,
so
I guess that does eliminate most of the
pretty much all of them.
original
Yes,
Disney
yeah.
movies.
So
Yeah.
so pretty much you're agreeing that Disney World is just bigger, it's better, it's more fun.
It depends. Well, growing up in California as a kid, Disneyland used to be the convenient option. Like we used to just go, like you pick a weekend and be like, hey, what are we doing on Saturday? Let's go to Disneyland. You
Hmm.
can go
Hmm.
there, get the whole day done, leave by 8 o'clock, be back at home by 9 or 10. It was great. Now that is obviously not as doable.
Hmm.
So in terms of the fact that Disneyland is smaller, I think the issue is that the crowds just continue to grow. So where Disney
That's
World
fair.
becomes the more appealing option in terms of just sheer size. And
Yeah.
it just sometimes we were fine. We were there on a weekday, so we didn't have too many crowds. But did you see the most recent thing that they just rolled out?
Yes. So that's what I was going to bring up to you
What was
was
it? $400 daily lightning
yeah,
passes to skip the line whenever you want.
which is I mean, if you're talking about people that like the elite of the elite, go into Disney World, 100% I would buy that. I would not
But
buy
that
that
was isn't it
in
just
my
one
current
day?
state. So that's what people are saying. I don't know what the actual price is. I'm too lazy to actually go and look at what the costs are each day. Um, but yeah, like I think if you're going there for like a day or 2 days, sure, spend the extra $400, right? Because then you can go to every park, you can do every ride you want to do, and you're fine. But like if you're going for like a full week and you're already spending however much money, like that's part of it is just waiting online, right? And seeing the part of the attraction is waiting on the line and like Avatar in Disney World, right? You go through the mountain, you see all the cave paintings, then you go through like the little science room and see the Navi in the chamber and stuff like that. So it's like it's like part of the experience. Whereas like it's just I don't know. Maybe I'm just conditioned and poor and just am used to
I mean,
waiting in
I
line
don't
and
think
stuff like
so.
that.
To me, $400 on top. Because let me put it this way: there's now, from my understanding, tiers to this. You can buy the
Yes.
regular Lightning Lane, which is actually reasonable. It's like $30 on top of your ticket. If anyone has been to Disneyland prior, it used to be so that you didn't have to buy that stuff, and you ran into the park, you'd go to your ride, you'd get a printed
Yeah.
out ticket at the ride that would then tell you to return to that ride at a certain time to get your fast pass. Now, instead, in order to do that, it's basically the same system. You just have to purchase that in advance. You then have to go to the ride on your app and then reserve your time there. And that's the $30 lightning pass. But the $400 one that we've been talking about, you don't have to do that. You just go whenever you want. So I think it's great if you're there for the rides.
Hmm.
But my thing is, if you're going for the rides, you probably shouldn't be going to Disneyland or Disney World.
That's fair. I mean, I do think Disney World is doing a better job of like getting more like
Roller
yeah,
coaster
yeah, roller
types.
coasters. Whereas like but yeah, I mean I would agree. I think Universal is the one you go to, right?
Well, yeah,
Universal in Orlando is
yeah.
like
If you're
the
looking for
big one.
thrills, Universal, Orlando, or any Six Flags around the country. But obviously, the one thing we talked about that Disneyland does do well is lines. Like
Yeah.
each line is an experience in itself. It's kind of fun. Obviously, you go to Six Flags, you're probably just standing outside baking in the sun
Yeah.
to go on a roller coaster. So it's different vibes. But in general, I had a good time. It was fun. It
It was cool. It
was
was it
good.
was definitely, for the first time experiencing it. Um Really cool. I will say that the Goofy's Flights roller
Oh.
coaster. Do not do that if you can't fit into
Yeah,
seat cars
AJ was
or can't bend your legs
AJ was
properly.
not California Adventure compatible. We went
Yes.
on what was called
My
the
ankle still hurts.
Goofy Coaster or something like that. And as AJ was saying, he could not fit his legs inside. The best part is we sit down and AJ tries to pull the bar down and it goes maybe to like here. So he needs to get it all the way down here. It's here. And he
It's
looks
covering
at
the
the
thighs.
lady. Yeah, he points at the lady and goes, "Is this okay?" And she just goes, "Eh." And we're like, what? She was just gonna let him go.
And then we just left.
Yeah, did not care at all. So that was kind of fun. But the funniest part of the day was we did the Rise of the Resistance ride.
Ah,
If anyone
yes, yes,
has
yes,
not
yes.
done this ride before, it's pretty amazing. No tracks. I'm pretty sure the carts are on some type of high powered magnet and they just kind of shift you around places. It's cool.
Hmm.
But the best part of it is they try to immerse you in the experience. So we get there, we go in, they do the intro of the ride, and they take you onto the first order ship, and we're sitting there and we're getting interrogated by the first order people. And lady decides that she wants to be this close to AJ, and she
I
does it,
just,
and AJ cannot keep it together.
I
So
just couldn't
AJ
stop
starts
laughing.
laughing, and all these people are trained to stay in character, so they're instantly being like, "Why are you laughing? This is no laughing matter. The first order will not stand for this," and that just makes AJ laugh more. Well, then I'm looking at AJ, so now I'm laughing. Now the lady is standing in front of both of us, and both of us cannot stop laughing, and we just kind of have to stand there, stare at the ceiling, and yeah, it got a little awkward.
See, it's just funny too because like that's I've been lucky enough to go to Disney World 2 or 3 times in the past like 5 years, right? So like I've already experienced that ride. So for you, it was your first time. So it was like part of it was just like seeing you and um, Sam just go through the experience kind of thing, and like knowing that was coming up, and just like laughing because like
So were you
there
already laughing before she even talked to you? You're like, I'm gonna
I
lose it.
I was just like, this is like, it's always like so cool when you go in there and you're like, oh wow, like they take it seriously and they're like, stand there, like they're actually kind of rude to you. So I was expecting it, but I wasn't expecting the lady to like pick on us kind of thing. Um, so when she just started doing it to me, I was like, I can't not laugh. Like it's just hilarious. And then
No,
just like turning to you and looking at you, it was just so funny.
it was good. It definitely added to the experience. All in all, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. Still a little bummed that California Adventure is not really California Adventure anymore, but it's not really a rant that we need to get into. We'll move on from here. And for anyone who does know us well, you will know that we are two comic book heads, nerds, whatever you want to refer to us as.
Yes.
And there's obviously been some big news on both ends, Marvel and DC. I guess we can start on the Marvel front. AJ, have you heard the recent cancellation news?
I have. That came out what today, right? Earlier today or
Yes,
yesterday,
the
something like that.
Blade movie is no more.
Yeah. So I just I don't I didn't read all the reports and see like what people are like speculating on. Um, but I've seen some things about like it was a money thing or if it was just like timing or whatnot. But I this movie was supposed to come out what like 4 years ago.
I don't know when
Did
it's
it come
been
out
officially
then?
supposed to come out, but
And
they announced it like
now
four or
they're just
five
like,
years ago.
all right, fine. Like we're just gonna scrap it. Um, and you had so much kind of you had him voice in Eternals, which is another project that I feel like has gone off the rails. Like you had him in an end credit scene. Like I just don't get what has happened between then and now that you know the movie is just kind of like scrapped or in purgatory in Marvel.
Well, I've heard a couple things. One of the things I heard was Mahershala Ali has not necessarily liked the scripts or stories that they've come up with
Mm-hmm.
so far. So it's not just internal within Marvel, it's their lead actor saying, this isn't the best, which I think Marvel is trying to do a little more, especially with some of the lackluster performances from their recent movies. So I think
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to focus more on the story, which is good. But the other news that I heard, which actually has me kind of excited that they scrapped it to pursue this other avenue, which is they're now greenlighting a Midnight Suns movie. Which, if anyone doesn't know what the Midnight Suns is, it's basically supernatural
Mm-hmm.
Avengers. All the characters in Marvel who are more related to demons, vampires, stuff like that. So you got like Blade, Ghost Rider, a couple other characters. Those will be your main ones. Doctor Strange pops in and out here and there.
Yeah.
It's fun. I've heard some big things in terms of that. So I've heard that they're scrapping Blade and they might introduce him directly into the Midnight Suns movie and go from
Okay.
there.
All right. So he would then be in that movie. It's not like they're replacing Mahershala Ali.
It still sounds like he's on board for things, even though definitely some gray area being introduced with Wesley Snipes coming back in Deadpool and
Yeah,
Wolverine.
I say it's funny because what he like deadpanned in Deadpool and Wolverine was like, there's only one blade.
Oh, I think the best part of his interactions in that movie was if you didn't hear while they were filming Blade Trinity back in the day, uh, Wesley Snipes is notorious for being a method actor and
Yeah,
didn't break character. And most of the other people on that film with him were comedic actors, so they were trying to break him on set. And apparently that rubbed Mahershala, or not
yeah,
Mahershala, Wesley Snipes, the complete wrong way, which is why that joke uh, when they're talking is I don't like you, and he responds with you never did, and
yeah,
that's directly going back to the movie because they did not like each other on set.
yeah. I mean, such a great movie, and like I said, I just think it's funny that that one line was in there. I definitely, I hope that they bring Blade in. Blade is such an amazing character, um, and somebody like the dark Marvel universe, right? You know, is something that can be such a great genre for them to get into. I think with Doctor Strange, the recent Doctor Strange movie, like horror, right, was something that they, were finally kind of like able to kind of like dip their toe in and like had such a good reception. So doing a Midnight Suns movie or doing like a darker Blade horror type movie would be amazing. So
Well, maybe part of the reason why they've struggled so much with Blade is maybe Marvel missed the vampire train. Like
it's
so
fair.
much vampire content happened like 10 years ago.
Yeah. But it's never too late to bring it back.
That's true. Um, in that, so obviously the biggest Marvel news, which we've talked a little bit about, but Downey Jr., Doctor
Yep.
Doom.
Yep.
Obviously, it's going to be very confusing. You and me probably have some ideas of how they're going to do it. I don't think it's going to be exactly like the comics where they switch minds. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably a little too much for most people to deal with. But I think they need a. I'm a little worried that because these movies are coming out in like 2 or 3 years, everyone is so fed up with the multiverse stuff. Like everyone is so fed up.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just worried that by the time we introduce Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, people are going to be like, I'm over all these different. Like, they're already reporting that all three Spider Man are going to come back for Spider Man
yeah.
4
Or
and Doomsday and
yeah.
Secret Wars.
Yeah. I've seen that.
It's,
I
it's a lot.
so I think what will kind of help is what the next movie coming out is Captain America, right?
Oh, yeah. New
So I
World
think
Order.
I think having those more like grounded Earth movies will kind of help with that. Or at least I'm hoping. And like you have Agatha all along, right? Where I'm sure we'll talk about it in a little bit, but like that's grounded in this world, right? Type of thing. So I think that kind of helps when it when Doomsday comes out, Avengers Doomsday, and or if it's gonna change or whatever. That and then when Secret Wars comes out, I think that'll help at least with like the fatigue. But yeah, I mean, such a I go one of two ways with the Downey casting. I think it's awesome, right? Because you know what he did with Tony Stark, and you feel like he's gonna play that edge of like he's from another multiverse or universe, right? Where he's gonna come in. Peter Parker is probably gonna be one of the main leads, and he's gonna be like, this is Stark, kind of thing. Um,
I
and then
don't
it's gonna
want
flip
that
on its head.
moment.
I
I don't want it.
I don't disagree, but it's gonna happen. Like, there's no way that they're just gonna be like, well, this is unless they don't take off his mask, right?
That's
Which,
kind of what I want.
but there's
I don't
there's
want him to
no
take the
way
mask off.
there's no way you're hiding Robert Downey Jr.'s face under a mask.
I mean, I
Zero
agree,
chance.
especially with all these other projects with what's his face getting so upset with the Mandalorian because he never took his mask off.
Yeah,
Doesn't he just do voice acting for
yeah,
now? He doesn't even show up on set.
yeah.
I,
So Pedro Pascal, yeah,
yeah, Pedro
yeah. So
Pascal. I would be. Yeah, I'd be a little surprised if they didn't take the mask off because then, like, why hire Robert Downey
yeah,
Jr.? So that's true. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm definitely intrigued. I'm more excited to see because I think Spider-Man 4 is going to come out before.
yeah. I think they're. I saw some stuff that they're. Tom Holland said that they're writing scripts for it now, and there's a lot of good stuff, but there's stuff that like he would like to edit out or like have taken
But
out.
like to me, that's going to be the one that connects most of these dots the
Yeah.
most in terms of that movie is confirmed to have, or they are not confirmed because they haven't started filming yet, but rumored to have all three Spider-Man in it again. So that is
Oh,
back
really? I didn't see
to
that.
multiverse level stuff, or at least it's going to have to expand at some point.
I think
We'll see.
I think it would be cool if they just had him and if they could like somehow introduce Miles Morales.
We have four
Well,
Spider-Man.
well, I'm just saying, just have him and Peter Parker. Those are the only two. The Tom Holland Peter Parker. You don't
Okay,
have to bring in the
so
other
just
two
for
guys.
Spider-Man 4.
Yes, and then yeah, and because you're most likely he's gonna have a new love interest in like Black Cat or something like that. Like I think they'll kind of have MJ be on the sideline, and it'll
Yeah.
be Felicia Harding or something like that. That'll be um, the main one. And I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow bring in Harry Osborn and like stuff like that. Like
Well, my thing is if you bring in Miles Morales, he probably doesn't make it to Avengers 4. Not saying that he's like dead, but like more of like along the lines of like Infinity War,
yeah,
Endgame, where like big universe shattering event happens,
yeah,
and then that's what Peter is trying to save. Because you got to give him something to save in these big Avengers level movies. Because after the last Spider-Man, no one knows who he is.
yeah,
Aunt May's dead. Uncle Ben's been dead in the MCU since the start. So he's got no connections to anybody.
yeah.
So he's got to have a tie to someone. And I think it would be a good tie in if you brought in Miles Morales in
Yeah,
Spider Man 4, but then he can't be, well, I guess he could be in Doomsday, but he would have to die in Doomsday. And then he gets resurrected by the end of Secret Wars.
or I mean, you could kind of have it play out right because doesn't I forget in the comics doesn't he die? Is no in the main Marvel timeline, comic world wise, he becomes the ultimatum. So he becomes like a villain,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the Ultimates universe where he becomes, Spider Man. So like that'd be cool. Like you have that kind of thing play out where Doom has his own, you know, uh, bad version, his own, ultimatum Spider Man, kind of come in and be a villain that way. Like that'd
Ooh,
be awesome.
the one movie that we forgot about that will truly connect
Yeah,
some of this, Fantastic Four.
this is true.
Because isn't Downey going to be in that one
Uh,
to introduce Doom?
I so that's a good. I would assume he's gonna be in it somewhere, like maybe a post credit scene or like
From
a
what I've
flash to
seen,
him.
that's alternate universe set in the 70s, and then
Yeah,
somehow by the end of the movie, or maybe not the end of the movie, maybe they don't come back until Secret Wars.
yeah,
We'll see. But more current stuff. Agatha all along.
yes,
Before we get into some other things, but first, Agatha all along, because I want to
yes.
stay connected to the MCU for a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you caught up?
So I haven't watched today's episode. We were actually gonna
Okay, that's fair. I was going to yell at you, but that's fine. I haven't watched today's either, so
we
that's okay.
we were gonna watch it before this, but we just didn't have time. But yeah, I've been really liking it.
Should we give a
Um,
spoiler warning since we're going to talk up to probably this episode?
yeah, we can. Yeah.
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 Spoiler
Spoiler
warning.
warnings. We'll let you know
Good.
when you can come back in somehow.
Don't know how we're going to do that. We'll figure it out. We'll get there.
And if you can't tell, we're working on the fly here.
We're
We're,
testing
we're
things out.
we're figuring this how it goes.
Work in
Um,
progress.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, how do you want to start this? You want to give a synopsis
We don't need to give
of
a
everything?
synopsis. Let's just go through our big moments. One of the things that I was happy about last episode, which probably doesn't seem like it to most people, the accuracy that they decided to go with for Billy's origin. What I
How
mean
so?
by that is him coming straight from death into another body. For
Hmm.
those of you who don't know from the comics, it's a little bit more confusing than that. Mephisto, we actually got name drop in episode
We
two,
did.
so it's not
Yeah.
that big of a stretch anymore. Um, he it is created by they are created by the Hex, but then it turns out that they were also part of shards of Mephisto. So when they died, their souls didn't go away because they weren't just Hex; they were also part Mephisto. So then they go
Yeah.
into other bodies after that. So they actually stayed pretty close to that
Yeah.
in the show. We actually haven't watched this week. We obviously haven't seen the so Shards of Mephisto could be exactly how they're going to explain it. We did
Yeah.
see last episode that he goes into the new body. They didn't really say how
How?
that happened. Just just happened. But I did enjoy that. It is a comic book accurate origin for the most part.
Yeah. I would agree. I think um he's been. I mean, we all saw him being Wiccan. I mean, or Billy Maximov. Like that was obvious. I think from the get go. Like there was no like they threw in the he could be Ben Scratch, right?
Yeah.
Um, he could be him kind of thing, and you could
No.
be
It
Agatha's
was just
son.
pretty obvious the whole time
Yes.
that he
Yeah.
was
I
Billy.
agree. I think I think the one thing I'm waiting for is for Agatha to be like she's kind of like towed the line of like being good because like in the comics she trains Wanda actually like she's a mentor
Trains
for Wanda.
Wanda. She
She
is the nanny
yeah
to Nathan Richards. Got
like
whole
there's
other levels of stuff here.
yeah and like so like she's actually kind of good. So I'm waiting for like she's been towing that line of like still being bad and like I think once she got her powers back from I can't remember the character's name. Um, like you saw that like change. So I wonder if she's like I don't know somehow corrupted by power that like we'll
You think
see.
that's where they're going? I mean, obviously, it feels like it, just from a natural storytelling point of view, it feels like that's where they're going with her because, why do a TV show about someone who is a bad guy in a previous TV show unless it's going to be a redemption arc?
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
feels like it's going to be a redemption arc, but she really has not done any. In this show, it almost feels like every time she takes a step forward, she takes two steps back.
Oh, 100%.
And I don't know where they're going with it in the sense that all the characters that she could be connected to after this show doesn't feel like she's going to be connected to, like unless she like follows Billy around on his hunt for Tommy. But it feels like that's what the conclusion of this show is going to be because that's
So
what I'm expecting us to learn in tonight's episode, that is
so
what Billy is on the road for.
they apparently confirmed, or I saw. I don't know if it was confirmation or a rumor, but they said that the next show that Disney Plus is doing is a Wiccan finding Tommy storyline.
Is Agatha in it?
I don't know, but that was apparently greenlit that I saw online. So like maybe she is going to be in there,
I kind of hope
and
she's not in it.
I mean, I wouldn't. She's going to have the redemptive arc. There's no way that she doesn't. Like
Yeah, but it's more of she doesn't really have much to do with Billy and Tommy, like in the
fair,
comics. Like her characters are literally like Fantastic Four,
yeah.
Wanda, and more like Immortals realm. Just not.
So I guess my big question out of all of this is what are you gonna do with the character after this? Like you said, right? What are you gonna do with the character
Yeah,
after the show? Is it really just gonna be a one and done show, or are you gonna continue to try and build off of her and have her in movies? Because like
I mean
Catherine Hahn isn't like
that's how
that
I
one's
felt about some of these TV shows. Like you watched Echo, I didn't even.
yeah. Echo was actually I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, but once again, it's not that I don't doubt that they can make quality content. It was more of just why.
I think Echo will be in Daredevil Born Again. Um,
When that ever gets created.
well apparently it's
I know. I'm
they're
just teasing in the
yeah
sense that it just keeps getting delayed, 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 delayed,
fair.
delayed.
But I would assume she'd be in that, and they're gonna make like a grounded Defenders type TV show with all these kind of like misfit, street level superheroes
Yeah, I
like they
see
did.
Defenders coming up and Young Avengers with all
Yeah,
these young boys
yeah.
and girls.
So, my other the one thing I didn't like about the last episode, but for Agatha was that they just like they killed off everybody. Like Waken, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago. Like
Well,
Billy
you don't
just like
really
mind
know that
controlled
because
him.
it was the whole flashback episode. So like we didn't
No,
really
but
like.
he just
I guarantee you in the first 2 minutes of this new episode tonight, all of them are going to be back.
I mean, hopefully. I just like I feel like that was so anticlimactic though that like he just mind controls them, throws them in the pit,
That's
and
what
the
I'm
only
saying.
one that
There's no way they're all dead. There's 0% chance because we didn't even get like a moment of remorse. It was just
yeah,
blah,
whatever.
power,
Yeah.
backstory. So they'll probably come back to life in the first 5 minutes of this episode.
I
Would be
mean,
my guess. 'Cause you need the whole coven to walk the road.
I don't know. I don't know if he's that powerful, right? And then she is getting her powers back. Who knows? And also, you don't know where Aubrey Plaza's character is.
Yeah, I know that you've seen a spoiler on it. It does
Yes.
show more true with each episode. More just should we just say who we think she is?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, we think she's Death. If anyone has been more rooted in the comics, you'll understand that Death is not just an idea or a concept. Death is an actual entity.
Yeah.
Thanos originally was not trying to balance the universe. Now he's
Yeah.
trying to hook up with Lady Death
Yeah.
and
Presser. Yeah.
killing a bunch of people with the Infinity Stones was
Yeah.
his best plan to do that. So it's slightly different. And if you rewatch the show, anytime anyone talks about Death, everyone looks upset, and then it pans to her, and she's smiling.
Yeah.
So
And like she's always trying to kill people, or wants people dead, and like
I
the one
think
thing.
she wants Agatha because in the concept of who's been alive the longest in the
Fair.
Marvel universe, right now it's her because she's from what, the 1800s. So with no
Yeah.
technical Wolverine in this universe, she is the oldest
Yeah.
of the people on Earth. So it could just be Death kind of has the hots for Agatha in the sense that
Yeah.
she
That's
wants
actually a
her
good
to
point.
die.
I mean, yeah, they're already playing up that like relationship. So yeah, that's actually a good point. But then she was like, I can't kill you," or something like that in like the first episode. So like, that was one thing I was
Interesting. I did miss that. That's
why
good.
why yeah I was like, why can't she kill you? So like, I don't know, there's something like there or whatnot that like I'm assuming they'll explore more. But yeah, I'm interested to see what her character does for the rest of the show, and also like what are they gonna do with her? Because like, how do you kill her? Right, you can't.
My big thought is just because I kind of want to see the two actors slash actress on the screen together is they do what they did in the comics and she falls in love with Deadpool. Then we could have Aubrey Plaza and Ryan Reynolds just saying absolute nonsense on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a fanboy wish.
It might make it a little bit too unhinged to create anything worthwhile, but it'd be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say no, but I think Ryan Reynolds is above that.
It'd be pretty funny.
I'm not disagreeing. I think.
But the only problem is Lady Death is not usually comedic.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
That's fair.
I do want to move on because we got a couple other things I want to talk about.
Sure.
Specifically, Venom. Have you
Yes.
seen the early reviews?
Apparently, they've been getting glowing reviews from what I've seen. Apparently, it sets up things for Marvel movies, from what I've heard. So I'm very confused because I don't get, because I thought Sony's universe is supposed to be Sony's universe, and now it's with the whole multiverse thing.
Well, this
They're
is
gonna
actually
bleed it
something I
in.
can explain very simply. It's just money.
Well,
Because
yes.
Sony has 3 movies all time that have
Yes.
grossed over $1 billion. Those are the 3 Spider-Man Tom Holland movies
100%.
that they make with Marvel. So I think Sony is trying to just fully implant themselves in Marvel so that
Yeah.
Marvel will just keep making movies for them and they can just collect paychecks.
I mean, they'd
And
be smart.
I mean, it's smart. And the villain that they're doing it with, I saw the correct things from the reviews in the sense that one of the things I saw was, despite Null being all over the trailers,
He's not going to be really.
not really in the movie. It's
Yeah.
more of a setup for things to come.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go watch the movie and you're expecting Null, don't. But that's good because we talked about it before.
100%.
And one of our things was, if they put Null in this movie and they kill him, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest, like, our biggest worry, right? It was, and for anybody who hasn't read the about the character of Noel, or like the absolute Venom storyline. It is absolute Carnage. Sorry.
Absolute Carnage, and then King in Black.
Yes. Yeah. Is probably one of my favorite Marvel like runs. It is amazing. And Noel is the creator of the symbiotes. He's the creator of Venom, all that stuff. So
He gets into weird concepts
yes,
where he was created back at the start of the universe. He was actually born in like darkness, and the
yes, he is
void,
the
all these
dark.
other
Yeah.
things. It adds a level to it. I think they're already trying to say that, from what I saw, the dead Celestial from Guardians of the Galaxy was supposed to be killed by Null and
Oh,
the All Black Sword, which
okay.
is also weird because we've technically seen the All Black Sword already.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the sword that was no, that's not the
Gore.
sword that Kid
Yeah,
Harington was it?
that's the story that Gore had. Yeah.
Gore. I was gonna say because we also saw the sword that Kit Harington had, but that's not the All Black
Oh,
sword.
yeah, yeah. That's I forgot what that one is.
That's different. But yes, Gore, the God Butcherer, was supposed to have Null's sword, but they didn't really play into that like at all. For general, we
No.
can pretty much forget that Thor: Love and Thunder
Yeah.
ever really happened. That was a disappointment. But I'm excited for Venom just because the right things happened in the sense that Null's not really in it.
So
It's
we hope.
setting up other things. I did see that if you like the other Venom movies, most people are saying you're going to like this one, but they're also saying if you didn't like the other two, don't
Well,
bother.
so that's the thing. The first one was good. It was refreshing. It was everything you wanted in like the first movie of a potential trilogy, right? The second one was carbon copy, but just hot garbage.
Well, it was just the
With
same plot. They didn't do
yes,
anything different.
but
They labeled it Absolute Carnage, and they did not touch that storyline like
correct.
at all.
But I just felt like it was worse than the first one. I don't. Maybe that just
No,
me.
I mean it was because Carnage, Absolute Carnage in the comics, he takes over an entire town,
Yeah,
turns them all into symbiotes, and he didn't do that to anybody.
yeah. I mean, so I'm still slightly worried because I feel like the reviews, if I'm remembering correctly, right from the other ones, were like, "Oh, this is Venom 2 is gonna be the next best thing," right? So I'm slightly worried that it's still gonna be trash, and they're not really gonna set up Null right, and then the Marvel universe or Marvel is just gonna take it over and just retcon it, kind of thing, which is I'm fine with, right? At the end of the day,
I mean, I don't think it's going to cross over until after Spider-Man 4, until after Doomsday, until after Secret Wars. So I don't think after this movie we're going to see Venom or Null again for at least 4 or 5 years. We'll
I
probably
think
see some teases here
fair.
and there.
I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of gets set up in a way, a different Venom gets set up in a way in Secret Wars.
I'm thinking Agent Venom, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, but I thought I saw something where like Tom Hardy said like this is going to be the
Yeah.
end of like Venom type thing.
Well, I saw that it was Tom Hardy being done with Venom.
Oh, okay. So
So
maybe I
Tom Hardy
misread
is
that.
done. It doesn't mean Venom's dead. Venom's still around. If anyone else knows it, Flash Thompson, who
Yeah.
has already been introduced in the MCU, I forget the actor's name,
Yeah.
but he's been in the Spider-Man movies. He becomes Agent Venom. It's kind of a cool character. It's Venom, but military version with guns. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the DC world of things here. Um,
I'm excited.
do we want to start with the good or the bad?
Let's start with
Because
the
we
bad.
got some hot garbage and we got some fun news.
Let's start with the bad. We can end with the good DC, and then we can kind of get onto some other
Okay,
topics.
Joker 2. What the fuck was that?
uh, yeah. So have you seen it?
I have not
Okay, I have not seen it either.
personally, but being thrown off a little bit by the 30 minutes of musical numbers.
So I I respect taking a different angle on movies and on characters and all that stuff. And I would still be okay with the musical numbers, but I just feel like everything else that I've read and I still have not seen it. So this is take my own grain of grain
I'm
of
also
salt
going to
with my
preface this.
thoughts.
Both of us will probably not watch this movie because of
Not in theaters, at least.
Oh, I mean, I don't think it's in theaters anymore. I think it's coming out on digital like next week.
That's
It
fair.
did so
I'll
bad.
I'll see it once it comes out on like Max or something like that. That I don't have to pay money for. But yeah, I don't get what they were doing, and it's funny too because Joaquin Phoenix apparently was only going to do a, a follow up movie right to the first one if the script was good. And apparently this was not good at all. So I don't know if things
Well,
were cut that
have
like
you
he
have you
wanted.
heard the rumors of what Todd Phillips really did with this?
No, no.
One, Todd Phillips just wanted to make the first Joker movie. He just wanted it to be a standalone Joker movie.
Yes.
He had
Okay. Yeah,
no
I knew that one.
interest in a sequel at
Yeah.
all. He still didn't want to do the sequel, even when they asked him to do it. So he basically said, "Fine, if you're going to make me do the sequel, I will do it, but I want no outside input, and I'm going to make the movie that I want." Well, with
Hmm.
Joker 1 being pretty good, they said sure. So apparently, the whole movie is actually supposed to be a commentary about how he is saying "fuck you" to DC Studios,
Interesting.
and it's supposed to show that in the internal conflict of whether or not the Joker wants to
Hmm.
be the Joker personality or the other person or his main Arthur Fleck personality.
Interesting.
And Todd Phillips is basically Arthur Fleck, and he doesn't want to be the Joker, but he's kind of getting forced to by all these outside forces. So he does it, and he just says "fuck you" to everybody.
Interesting. I feel like that's just too much for the common person.
Well, that on top of it, it checks out in the sense that he told James Gunn to just go away. He
Well,
wanted no input from James Gunn.
the one thing I saw is like obviously with the Dark Knight, right, where Heath Ledger's Joker has the scars, right? Apparently, in the original Joker, I think it was Todd Phillips wanted the Joker to cut his mouth and
Yeah.
make the smile, and somebody at DC was like, "No, we're not doing that because why would we kind of like blend that?" And apparently, in
So it
this
would
one,
have
he
been
does.
almost a true origin story for the Joker then.
Not just that, but like just like different take. Like just do something else. Like with his smile. Like you already kind of just do the clown like makeup. That's it. Like he doesn't need to have the Glasgow smile, whatever it's called. But apparently in this one, nobody obviously because he didn't have the outside, um, producers and people from higher ups from DC like telling him what to do. It's in the movie where he cuts his mouth. Like you just kind of like ruined Heath Ledger's. I feel um, like take on it by just like doing that in a sense.
I'm also, this is probably because my fiance is a mental health therapist. I don't enjoy the movies that glorify mental health issues. And that's one of the issues that I've had with both these films
Yeah,
is not just they are massively successful. Well, this one wasn't very successful. The first one was, but just how people like the Harley Quinn character. I don't understand everyone's infatuation with her. I get that Margot
yeah,
Robbie has played her to be very fun in the Suicide Squad movies. Her origin story is
not good. And
psychotic. It's
and
really not a good look for people.
and their relationship isn't like great either. But so
No.
like I liked the first Joker. I thought it was good to like bring light to it kind of thing like on the mental health aspect kind of stuff. But yeah, like their their relationship, Harley Quinn and Joker, is very abusive, and I don't know, obviously, in this one if it's that way or not. Um,
We'll
but
find out in a
like,
couple months when
yeah,
it's on Max. Okay, now let's get into the fun DC talk. Would you like to start with Superman or Green Lantern?
I mean either. Let's do Superman because I think Green Lantern is gonna be maybe one of the best TV shows that's gonna come out when
Yeah.
it comes out.
Uh, Superman, kind of really quick. How do you feel about the casting? David Cornsweet, kind of like him. If you guys haven't seen Twisters,
Mm-hmm.
he is
Yeah,
the nerdy scientist in the hat who never really gets out of the car
it's
or
kind of a dick.
does much of anything in the movie. But he is going to be our new Superman. I'm kind of with them on the train of I kind of like now. This is actually from Anthony Starr in The Boys.
Mm.
I'm just going to bring this in. These actors who are no longer really bulking up for the superhero roles,
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Anthony Starr had a good line for this supernatural actor who what is not Jared?
Jensen Ackles.
Yes, Jensen Ackles came over and did Soldier Boy. For those who didn't know this, Jensen Ackles put on like 15 pounds to do that role, like hit the gym hard, and got on set and looked great. And Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, turns to him and goes, "Dude, why'd you do all that?" And he was like, "What do you mean? Like my character's Soldier Boy. Like I had to get in the character." He's like, "Dude, just tell him to put muscles in the suit. That's what I did." So
So
I kind of like how some of these actors are like, screw working out. And it
I
doesn't look like David Cornsweat is beefy.
I would agree. Right. I think that's good, especially if it's like a young Superman. I don't. I From everything I think we've learned about it. Right. It's about to be. Shoot. What's one of the comics that it's based on? Absolute Superman.
Maybe. Are we getting Brainiac is what I've heard, right?
I think so. So like I like it if it's like an origin, if it's another origin story type Superman, like, and he's kind of growing into his powers and like isn't
Well,
big,
I
but like
think it's going to
Superman
be
is
set in
big
like
though
the
in the comics.
70s or 80s, right? It's going to be
Oh really? Oh, see, I didn't know that one.
because they're going to I've seen a lot of rumors, not a whole bunch has come out of it. Apparently the rich dude who was in the bad Wonder Woman movie.
Maxwell Lord.
Yeah, Maxwell Lord is
Yeah,
going to have his own Justice
I
League
saw
team
that. Yeah,
essentially, and he's going to be doing stuff. We also are going to get Crypto, the super dog.
yeah. I mean, everything I've seen so far come out of that with like the castings, the guy from Barry, I forget what the actor's name is.
Who
The
plays
bald
Noho
guy.
Hank?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I love him. That's such a great show. But him being in the movie and being I forget he's being, but like they've so many awesome characters that they're showing. I'm slightly worried that it's just gonna be too many characters, like having Mr. Terrific in there. I think he's gonna have a bigger role. Um, but like just some of these more like lower end characters who are great. Like I feel like it might get a little crowded. Um, but I mean, I trust in James Gunn the way he's done Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardian Galaxy 3 is I think one of the best Marvel movies that has come out, ever.
recently at least.
Yeah, it might be in my top 5. I'd have to think about that, but it's right there. Um, but he's such a good director and writer, and I think he's gonna do so well for DC. And I mean, I love Peacemaker. I thought that was a
Yeah,
great show.
I'm
Love
intrigued to
Suicide
see.
Squad.
I'm intrigued to see where we go, especially since they're going
Yeah.
to start with Creature Commandos. It's an interesting start, but it's definitely a James Gunn
Well,
type of start to
the good
things.
thing too is it's animated, right? So it's not
Animated.
like you have to go for people that aren't big nerds of
I'm sure if you,
DC. You don't have
it'll
to
be
watch it.
skippable if you don't want to watch it.
Yes. Yeah.
But now, Green Lantern, because this is the fun
Yes.
stuff. We get an official confirmation that we're getting Hal Jordan and John Stewart.
Yes.
Obviously, you saw the casting for Hal Jordan is our favorite coach from Friday Night Lights.
Yes.
Love that casting, but the casting that I love more, and I even texted you about it, saying that I loved it so much, is Aaron Pierre as our John Stewart. Mainly because
Yes.
if you guys haven't watched it, go watch Rebel Ridge. It's on Netflix. If you watch that movie and you can't see him playing a perfect Green Lantern, yeah, I can see it. He's calm, cool, collected, beating everybody up. It's a great movie. I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, and the premise I think that we've gotten right is that it's gonna be like a true detective type show, which sounds fantastic. I love True Detective.
Have you heard
Um,
anything about Sinestro Corps at all?
I have not.
I'm just curious. I haven't heard much
I've
past the
not.
castings.
Um, so I think I would assume that they would um introduce him. But I think it's gonna be awesome. Kyle Chandler is a great actor. Obviously, love him in Friday Night Lights. Haven't seen the other actor.
Go watch
What's
Rebel Ridge. I told you to do it.
it's
You'll watch it
Netflix?
and you'll be Rebel Ridge. It's good.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Um, oh yeah, you forgot to Nathan Fillion is going to be Guy Gardner, which I
Oh
actually kind of
yeah.
like too.
But
Um,
he's also in the Superman movie. So is he just going to be in everything?
Yes, pretty much.
I'm so
So so
confused.
so I think he's actually gonna appear in Superman as Guy
There's a
Gardner.
photo of him on set in the Superman movie wearing a Green Lantern outfit.
Yeah, so I would assume I'm assuming they're just gonna connect it. Like it
Okay.
might just be like a one-off type thing, but yeah, I'm pumped. Anything True Detective esque, I think would do amazing. And it's with the showrunner too that did True Detective, so like he's gonna do. Well, you hope he's gonna do a great job, right? Um, but yeah, I'm pumped. And obviously, Green Lantern, right? Are they're space cops, so it makes perfect sense that you do like a crime detective type show with them to like introduce you to the character and stuff like that. So I'm pumped.
I
I
agree.
think it's gonna be awesome.
All right, that's enough of our nerd talk. But when I say nerd talk, we're just going to simply trade it for sports talk.
So
So
different
pretty
nerd
much the
stuff.
same thing, different
Yeah,
realm.
yeah,
We're going to start with the NFL because one of the things I want to talk about, we've had some monster trades this past week.
yeah.
Specifically, three trades for three stud wide receivers who now all get a change of scenery. So we got Devontae Adams going to your Jets, Amari
Yep.
Cooper going to the Bills, and recently today, DeAndre Hopkins going to the Chiefs. All right,
Yeah.
AJ, lay it down for me. I want two answers to this.
Okay.
What trade is the most impactful for fantasy football, and what
Ooh,
trade is the most impactful for real football?
that's tough. So I'll go real football. I would say probably DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs
Just
because of
because
their
he's gonna be that Rasheed
correct.
Rice type of guy that they've been missing.
He's gonna be their target. Besides Kelsey, right? He's gonna be their other option. Especially with Juju being hurt. I don't know how long he's out for,
I mean,
or what.
Juju wasn't moving the needle much for them, anyways.
No, but I think you saw at the beginning of his career what he could do, and like I feel like anybody that goes to the Chiefs, right, somehow becomes an all-star receiver
Well, I think
for the
Juju's a
most part.
great number two possession wide receiver,
Yeah,
but it also got shown with the Steelers. If you're asking him to be the number one guy and break double coverage, he's not that guy.
but to be fair, I mean, I don't think Big Ben was nearly as arm wise as good as Patrick Mahomes and what he can do.
Well, yeah, I thought you were going to say Aaron Rodgers for a second, and I was going to tell you to slow your roll there for a moment. Yeah, I agree with that concept. See, I'd go for
I think
talking real football. I think it's Amari Cooper to the Bills.
see the only reason I don't say that is because he already has shown that he can spread the ball to whoever and they'll be fine. Whether it be Clear Shakir, whether it be Keon Coleman, you have Dalton Kincaid, you have James Cook out of the backfield. Like he can go wherever he wants. Yes, having Amari Cooper, who I think we both think still is a stud. I think um, he's it's a great trade, but
It,
I
it,
just
it just
think
adds another level to their offense that
yeah,
Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman just did not add. Like
fair,
those are good wide receivers, but Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir, they're not breaking double coverage. They're not
fair,
demanding extra attention. If anything, I think this makes the Bills significantly better because even though, yes, he does spread the ball around, you now cannot ignore the passing game on the Bills. You
yeah,
have to respect it to some extent. And then on top of that, they got a running game and they can do a zone option run with Josh Allen. So now you got three aspects of the field. You got to have a linebacker spying on Allen. You got to
fair.
have another linebacker ready for the run, and you have to tell your safeties that they can't help on either of those because you got to worry about Amari Cooper down the field. So I just think in general it opens things up so much more for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two big winners, right, are Buffalo and the Chiefs, and getting good wide receivers. The Jets, like idiots, they trade for a wide receiver that they don't necessarily need. I like having Devonte Adams, but he doesn't change that team as you saw on Thursday or you know Sunday Night Football.
I hate to say it.
This past week.
I think Rodgers is. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He's just not what he used to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's 40 years old. It's
Fair.
okay if he's not what he used to be. He's
I
40. That's
so
fine.
the biggest thing, and I know we're close to time, so like we'll kind of go a little bit quicker, but
I think our significant others are summoning us, but yes.
Yes. Well, so we'll finish it on this. And somehow every time I do a podcast, it always ends up with the stupid Jets. Um, their biggest issues is they find ways to lose, and they find like whenever they have a problem in a game, it just compounds. Garrett Wilson, who's been great throughout the year, I think, right? He's been a little quiet here and there, but he has two of the biggest drops. One that causes an interception, the other one where he's going and I think Rodgers could have thrown a better ball, but like,
Are you talking about the one that bounced off his chest?
yes, that one, yes, is 100% on him. That's what I'm saying. Is 100% on him. Is a terrible drop. The other one where he was running the route, I think Rodgers could have thrown it a little bit better to him, but like, when they have issues, they have issues, and it's just like they're injured right on defense, so their defense hasn't been great, which I think everybody thought, right, they were going to be like a top 5 defense, which they have the numbers in a way, but they're just so injured.
Yeah, but the alarming part of that game to me was your guys' secondary, the fact that
we have 3 injuries in the secondary.
I mean, I know but you guys, Russell Wilson. For those of you guys who are fantasy football players, don't get confused. Russell Wilson did not look good in the Jets game. He actually ended up putting up a good stat line for fantasy football by the end of the day. But there was a couple throws early in that game where it was like, Jesus, what was that?
And he definitely had a good second half.
Well, I bring that up because, yes, him and Pickens had the connection.
Yeah.
Pickens was not open on either of those. And they were not particularly good thrown footballs either.
I also think Sauce Gardner is a little overrated.
It showed a little bit because he was on him for both those. I mean, they were basically 2 underthrown deep balls that Pickens just went and got. But also in saying that, Pickens wasn't exactly open. Like, Sauce was there.
Yeah.
He just couldn't make the stop. So we'll see. But my opinion on the question I presented, Bills, best improvement. The Amari Cooper to the Bills makes them better. The best fantasy football is DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs, just because you got to think optics. Yes, Amari Cooper gets better, but if you look at what he was doing with the Browns, it was just a terrible situation. Yes, his stock goes up. I don't see it going higher. Devontae Adams,
it stays the same.
His stock was pretty much already to be a top 12 wide receiver in the league. I don't think it changes your viewpoint on him at all, which is why in the league that I did have Devontae Adams, I traded him to whatever idiot thought his stock was going through the roof. Worked out. But with DeAndre Hopkins, it's the biggest mover for fantasy football because he was pretty much useless.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, where you drafted him, right, he's now worth a lot.
Yeah, he's
right?
useless.
Where Amari Cooper...
Well, Amari Cooper, he was in your flex probably already, so he's already in your lineup. DeAndre Hopkins probably wasn't. Now, he's probably
dropped
startable.
Him in a league. I dropped him in like 2 or 3 leagues. Now I'm regretting that.
Yeah, it's going to take some time to see how it goes, but the opportunity for DeAndre Hopkins is immense.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of running out of time, so we'll just do a quick little notes here. Baseball playoffs, full swing. We got World Series starting on Friday. Yankees, Dodgers. The commissioner of Major League Baseball is so happy right now. He has every single person he wants in this game, but we don't have to get into that too much. But who you got? I'm assuming you got the Yankees.
Yeah, come on.
Yankees in what?
I'll go 6.
I'll go Dodgers in 6.
Okay.
All right.
It's going to be a deep series, for sure. There's no way it's not going to be.
I saw that the Yankees might try to bring back Nestor Cortez off the injury report to pitch in the World Series, and I think that's a terrible idea.
I don't know. If you have him in like more in relief, I think I kind of like that.
I don't mind him. I like that idea. Middle inning relief,
long
get him
relief,
to pitch 2 or 3 innings. That's not bad, but bringing him back and relying on him as a starter when he hasn't pitched in over a month, I think that's a terrible thing to do in the World Series. He's not that. His stuff is more deception based and not like domination. If Nasty Nestor was going up there pumping 100 miles an hour, I would say absolutely get him back in the starting rotation, get him out there. But I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea for him to get back on the mound.
I would agree
for this series.
For starting, yes.
Yeah,
I would agree.
You got any hockey talk you want to drop on us?
I mean, yesterday was pretty fun where all 32 teams played in the night. But the NHL, of course, is bonehead idiots, and they have this hockey frenzy when it's NBA's, opening night. So it made
Did
no
they get a
sense.
red zone type deal
Yes.
going for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Okay, so they at least did something right.
Yes. But how do you have it on just on a random Tuesday where, oh, let's not check the calendar where, oh, well, it's NBA's opening night. Like, do it on
I mean,
today.
you
There's
would
nothing going
expect
on
these
today.
leagues to talk more. You could say the same thing about Christmas Day coming up because the NFL has now decided that they're going to play games on Christmas
Well,
Day, which most people know is most notably usually NBA's big day.
that's just the NFL knowing that they're king and they can do that.
And they can just do what they want. That's fair.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Before we go, anything you're looking forward to this week? We got Halloween coming up.
This week. Not sure. Got some more hockey, NHL, Rangers that I'll be watching. I mean, World Series obviously starting Friday, so that'll be fun. Um, nothing too crazy. Probably catch up on some shows. Excited for some Apple TV shows that are gonna be coming out soon.
Ooh, what?
Uh,
Severance season 2?
Severance, Silos coming out
Oh,
soon.
yes, yes.
Which we'll probably have to watch. We'll have to watch together.
Oh, we'll watch
Um,
it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. But
Yeah,
what about you?
I don't really have much either. Just twerking. Yeah, shows. We gotta now leave you all and
Yes,
go watch the challenge.
together with our fiancés
Together.
and
So we're
wives.
we're not leaving each other. We're just gonna go downstairs and do
Correct.
other things. But we're
Yes.
leaving all of you.
Yes.
But we shall return, and hopefully we'll get better. So
Yes. Episode one
adios.
in the books. Episode one draft in the books.
No. It's
Dry
not a
run.
draft. This is episode 1. We're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
label it.
Okay.
Doing it. Logging it. All right. And we're out. Till next time. Peace.
See ya. All right, baby, you want to set it up?
Okay, I'm going downstairs.